And welcome to the All Candidates Debate for the Federal Riding of Halifax. My name is Costas Halabrazos. I'm the host of Maritime Noon on CBC Radio 1. I'll be your moderator and MC for the evening, and this debate is being co-sponsored by the Dalhousie Student Union and Dalhousie University. I'd now like to introduce Ms. Jillian Wood, Director of Government Relations at Dalhousie University, who brings us greetings on behalf of the institution. Ms. Wood.
Vice President for Government Relations for Dalhousie, and we've co-sponsored this event and similar events like this for a couple years now. And again, it's my pleasure to bring greetings on behalf of the university. In particular, actually, Costa said upstairs, could I fill up 60 seconds? And I said, no, I don't think so. The tension in the room is building, so I'm sure you don't want to hear all of the talking heads. We want to hear the candidates. But what I would like to do is thank a few people. In particular, I'd like to thank the participants and our host, students from Dalhousie and students from our other sister institutions, and of course our neighbors and the larger community. And the Student Union are co-sponsors, and of course they actually do all of the work. So thank you to them. I think on an important note, I think everyone in this room is well aware of the importance of this type of dialogue, and particularly in the year of Democracy 250 here in Nova Scotia. I think it's a reminder to us that public discussion is an important component of election preparation. And by that, I don't just mean important for the people who are running for office, but I think it's very important for the voters, that's us, and for the people in this particular community. I think it's really important we hear from the candidates for Halifax. So be prepared for a lively evening. I hope some or all of your questions will be answered by the candidates throughout the evening. And once again, on behalf of Dalhousie, thank you so much for your participation. Thank you for coming out, and enjoy the evening.
Thank you, Jillian. I knew she could hit 60 seconds. Now I'd like to introduce Mark Coffin. Mark is Vice President, Education for the Dalhousie Student Union, and he'd like to extend greetings on behalf of the union. Mark?
Good evening. As Costas is going to explain in a few minutes, the first portion of this debate has been dedicated to hearing where the candidates stand on issues related to post-secondary education. And I'd like to tell you why we put such importance on these issues, so much so that we set aside a good portion of the debate to discuss them. As students, we often take for granted the fact that we've been able to make it this far. Maybe you've had a little financial help from your parents, maybe you've scored a monster scholarship, or maybe you somehow squeezed under the parental income cap and actually qualified for a student loan. But the reality is, we all know people that didn't make it this far. Capable, smart students with ample potential, students that just couldn't find the money for school and weren't willing to inherit mortgage-sized debt. These students aren't here with us today, even though many of them wanted to be. Currently, only 42% of university-age Canadians actually participate in some form of post-secondary education.
Dang.
That's a figure that's not high enough to meet the growing need for a skilled and educated workforce. We're entering a period of economic uncertainty, and we need to recognize that by putting an emphasis on post-secondary education and skills development, we can strengthen our economy. Current estimates indicate that 70% of both new and replacement jobs created in Canada each year now require the completion of some form of post-secondary credential as a minimum entry requirement. As the need for skilled workers grows, certain groups of Canadians are underrepresented in the university system. Canadians from low-income families are half as likely as those from high-income families to attend university. Only a third of disabled Canadians and less than a quarter of Aboriginal Canadians ever obtain any formal post-secondary credential. Research from the Canadian Millennium Scholarship Foundation has shown that if we work hard enough to remove the barriers that exist for these groups, they will begin to participate at higher levels in our post-secondary education system. The reality is that in our country, post-secondary education for many people is little more than a pipe dream. Tuition is expensive, interest rates on student loans are extremely high, and because of the way our education system has developed in Canada, many youth overestimate the cost and underestimate the benefit of a university education. I know several people that are here tonight because they're concerned about the environment and where our government is headed. I know because some of you called me and made sure you'd be able to ask questions tonight. Recent polls have shown that the environment and education are the top two issues for first-time voters and young voters. As people in the environmental movement know, an active, engaged, and educated citizenry is essential to solving many of the problems our planet faces. And what better way to do that than to create an affordable and accessible post-secondary education system nationwide? A strong healthcare system, a sound economy, a safe environment, safe streets, accountability, the alleviation of poverty. I don't need to list off the issues that are important to Haligonians in this election because we've set aside over an hour and a half for you to ask whatever questions you've come here with tonight. I will ask you to consider one thing though. How will the questions you're asking be different if we lived in a country that thought of education as an investment and not an expense? How different would the issues our country is facing be if every capable and interested Canadian were able to pursue a post-secondary education? How would our country learn to solve the problems we are currently facing with an electorate that is more educated, more aware, more engaged, and more prepared for life in the 21st century than ever before? I realize I've raised a series of questions, and I've been short on answers, and I'm not going to tell you how I think we should fix the system. If you're interested in our views, we've outlined the DSU's position on our website at dsu.ca. But tonight, I'm interested in hearing where the candidates stand on the issues I've raised, and on the issues you will raise. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, your candidates for the riding of Halifax in Canada's 40th general election. Ted Larsen from the Conservative Party of Canada. From the Marxist-Leninist Party of Canada. Meade from the Liberal Party of Canada. Whetter from the Green Party of Canada. And finally, Leslie of the New Democratic Party of Canada.